the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules. My life destroyed, life destroyed. Until I woke awake, scream my mind, I shout, the ground shakes. How much can I take? My mind will break. Will it break? Can I take? Can I be your superhero? Superhero.
Well, good morning, everyone. I feel like it's spring here. You know why? Because it's only going to be 92 today. So that's perfect farming weather for me. And it is Thursday. I put a little post in there for the members. You guys got to go check it out. Where is everybody from yesterday? LOL. That was wild. I thought Boston was going to have an aneurysm. She was like stroking out on me. I asked all the questions and there's more to come. This is my favorite comment so far today. Radio Gods. I look forward to it, meaning our time together. Even my family knows not to call me between 10 and noon. Woo! Right off the bat, we have a comment of the day. What am I going to do? That is awesome. Yeah, Learn the Burn. He was really on something. Whew, that was nuts. Couldn't believe I had to make all those damn phone calls and everything just to find out that I was freaking right the whole time. Man, I could feel you guys cheering me on, and some of you, not so much, but that's okay. I think Paper Cut was enjoying it a little too much. Jonathan did a great job on the show yesterday. He did. Talking to Earn the Burn about Equisearch and shit. And there's Earn the Burn, and he's talking about bounty hunting and everything. And I'm like, he's trying to educate you on something. Damn, Ernie. Damn. Did a great job, though. So we are back on the Siders family. Wow. It's something new every day with them. I can't keep up. We have new court records that came out. WSAZ3 Investigates has them. We have attorneys questioning the gag order. I've got questions about it too. Just because all these attorneys are wanting to rub elbows with Chris Cuomo doesn't mean they shouldn't. Okay? The prosecutor spoke out yesterday, which tells me that this gag order is a pretty loose one. And then back to everyone's favorite question. Is Elizabeth the victim? She said herself she's not. She said that they intentionally meant to have that many children. They wanted a big family. That's what she said. That is what she said. Her attorney said it. Now, she might change her mind later after she starts going through her mental evaluations and stuff like that. That can happen. But as of right now, the charges are exactly the same. The investigation is still ongoing, and there are 16 children that are the key witnesses, in my opinion, to this case. Because through education, therapy, nutrition, love, peace, warmth, a sense of safety, they will start to talk about what was really going on. We said the other day, if anybody pays attention to, let's say, your Twitter, your TikTok, or your Facebook feed, you'll see that news articles pop up all the time about children removed from filthy conditions. That's called a normal Tuesday. 16 being taken. Totally different story. Let's take a second, tell everybody happy Thursday. Hi, Hillbilly. I didn't see you just pop in. If you're in the bushes, come on out and say hi, and always double check to make sure you're subscribed and hit the like. It just helps us out. Diva, yes, thank you. Elizabeth's paperwork from the jail said she's not pregnant. Is she or not? I think she marked, no, I'm not pregnant. And then when they did the old EPT on her, then it got reported she is. Because even if you're prayer garden, you get put into jail, they're going to do a pregnancy test on you. True story. True story. Because obviously pregnant women have a little difference of how they have to eat, how they're held, and stuff like that. I'm telling you what, could you just imagine old PG getting put in the pokey? She has to piss on that stick. Ooh, we'd hear about it forever. Okay, so let's get to this. Let's start with the new court records. These were obtained by WSAZ.
Now to an update on a WSAZ investigation. New details in the horrific case in Vinton County, Ohio, where 16 children were found earlier this month in what the authorities described as disgusting, deplorable conditions.
Well, it is. It is. And I do understand that the defense attorneys keep saying things like hyperbolic talk, you know, like they're making it worse than it really is. It can't be any worse. It can't. 2 kids were life flighted. These children are malnourished. They're uneducated. What do you mean? Of course they're saying things like deplorable. This is just evil. Negligent. These children were in danger. Of course they're saying things like that. I'm saying it.
Records that show that the parents previously faced court complaints that 6 of their children missed school every day. Charlie Roth is breaking down what those documents mean.
6 of their children, I believe that was from the age of 7 to 13, just flat out weren't going to school. Just weren't going. Why? Didn't have clothes. They were getting picked on in school because they were stinking. That's what happened with the Turpin kids. One of the older Turpin girls said that in 2nd grade, she was picked on all the time because she was always called skinny bones or, you know, oh my gosh, do you shower? You know, you stink. I mean, kids will say whatever.
New records illuminating more history of the family in the middle of a child endangerment case, showing several of the children missing every day in school for months. We told you when authorities announced that they had discovered 16 children in a home in Hamden, Ohio earlier this month, describing abysmal conditions, including that the children were living in a 12-foot by 12-foot room.
It looked like.
Now let's talk about the 12-foot by 12-foot room. I have seen some comments, and I'm trying to stay out of comment sections. Well, except for here. And by the way, if you're watching on the replay, please leave me a comment because I love everything that you guys say. Some of you not so much, but I do still always get a chuckle out of some of that stuff. I do. Not gonna lie. It is entertaining. Abysmal conditions. Okay, then you go to these comment sections going, I can't believe that they had them all locked in that 12 by 12 room. This is not true. They did go outside. We have text messages between the two older girls. The older girl telling her younger sister, Dad said for you to come in. Dad said they were not just confined to a room.
Almost feral animals. It was terrible.
The young person's mental capacity, she is, we believe, developmentally disabled.
I would think so. When you haven't had proper nutrition and you haven't been to school and you are living like that, when you live in a chaotic environment, I'm talking full of food bank boxes and poop, you're not exactly going to thrive in that environment. You're just not going to. No way.
Couldn't even spell her name at 18, and so she is developmentally still a minor.
4 adults, 2 parents, Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders, and 2 grandparents, Gary Siders Sr. and Christina Siders, were each charged with 16 counts of child endangerment. All 4 of those cases are ongoing. We reported at the time that Gallia County local schools told us they did see Gary Siders Jr. and Elizabeth Siders in their system as parents in 2021. We've now obtained court records that show that the 2 parents also faced official complaints after 6 of their children allegedly missed months of school. According to the records filed in October 2021, 6 of the children had missed the entire academic year to date. The records also show that a couple months later, in January 2022, the cases were dropped because the court and sheriff's office could not find the parents. Officials previously said that the Siders family had moved from county to county.
We know that they have ties to Gallia County. There was some talk that they may have been down in Pike County. There was some talk that possibly they're in Jackson County. There's some talk that they were up in Wisconsin for a little bit. And it appears that they've been back here in Benton County for about 4 years.
Gary Siders Jr. is due in court on Thursday for 4 unrelated charges.
Yep. Today, Fireball has court to talk about the public indecency. You know, that at this point is the least of their problems. It's actually a good thing that he was flaunting his slong around, because if he wasn't, the kids wouldn't have been rescued. So in a way, we can just go ahead and say Fireball solved the case, you know? Good morning, Janica.
In court on Thursday for 4 unrelated charges of public indecency, filed on the same day as the child endangerment charges. Charlie Roth, WSAZ.
Oh, yeah. Now we're going to get to some text messages between the 2 oldest girls. I will not show their pictures. I won't do anything like that. However, these are out and they're real easy to find. Real easy to find. Ooh, Radio Gods. I hope he wasn't a toucher. I hope Joey is. All right, so this is between, like I said, the 2 oldest girls. So the oldest one says, Zoe, get in the house. She says no. Dad said to. Zoe, Dad said to. Come on. No, 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 she says. Does anyone blame Zoe, let's just call her Z, okay? For saying, I'm not coming in that filthy effing house. Out of your damn mind. I don't care what Fireball says. Tell him to go eat a Whopper Jr., jerk off, and take a shit. I'm not coming in that house. She's like, Zoe, come on. Come on. Hold on. Who just came in? I thought I saw Danny Dane. There she is. Exactly, Danny Dane. No. Let's stay outside. Let's get some fresh air. I'd rather be out here. I don't care if it's 6 foot of snow. I'd rather be outside than smelling all that in there. All right, older sister says why? Lots of emojis. Sister says just one time, like she's going to come in the house, make her presence known, and she's going to go back outside. All right, so they talk for basically, well, Chloe tried to call her. Zoe didn't answer. Then she says, Dad wants you. Why didn't Fireball get off his fat, pudgy ass and go outside and get his daughter? Or Elizabeth? Or Grandma? Can't say anything about Grandpa because he's pretty incapacitated. Doesn't mean he's always been that way. Okay, audio call started at 8:13, ended. Then she says, I don't know. He said we are not allowed outside right now. She said, why? She goes, I don't know. Come on. Come in. So that's just a little snippet of what they had going on. Oh, and there's more. There's more. Some of them, though, I'm just not going to put up because it shows their pictures. I'm using that one because it's all beeped out. You know what I mean? I'm not very good at editing. All right, so now let's get to questioning the gag order.
Continuing our coverage tonight, 3 weeks to the day after 16 children were removed from a Hamden home. As we've told you, a Vinton County judge issued a gag order in the case involving.
Ooh. Britt. Dad was on a drunken episode and wanted to not have to deal with any kids for the rest of the night, in my opinion. Yeah. There was a lot of Fireball bottles. You can run your car off of that. Wicked Inc. sent me an email. Vacationing. I'm going to share it on the members tab. You guys can go check it out.
Involving 4 members of the Siders family charged with child endangerment.
But tonight, that gag order is drawing criticism from legal experts and even preventing 10 TV from obtaining public records requests.
10 TV's Carla Rogner joins us now live in studio. You've been looking into this, Carla. What are the biggest?
I think the name of the paper is Columbus Dispatch. Yeah, they actually filed something with the state that they were having a hard time getting records, documents, all kinds of stuff. They were really mad about it. Because this is not a case that Ohio's ever seen before. This is not a case any of us have really ever seen before, except for the Turpin family. Well, look who just snuck in. Where did she go? Everyone, please give a huge congratulations to our girl, Jules. She is a grandma again. Beautiful, bouncing baby girl was born yesterday. And she's already got Grandma Jules wrapped around her finger. And she is beautiful. Nothing like a new baby.
Concerns with this gag order here.
Yeah, well, some legal experts have expressed concern. So the gag order prevents any public official from speaking out about this case. That means anyone from local law enforcement, even Governor Mike DeWine couldn't say anything about it.
I don't mind following a gag order when it's properly entered, but this one is overly broad. It's not very clear about what it means, and the judge has the obligation, I think, to clarify it.
Mark,
I don't think that Vinton County has ever had to instill a gag order. Hey, Bonnie. Bonnie's back, you guys. I've missed you, Bonnie. So this is every bit of this for this little town, this little county, it's all new. It's uncharted water. It really is. It's not their regular garden variety crime that they're used to.
Weaver has served as special prosecutor in 12 counties across Ohio. He says this gag order in Vinton County does not follow the legal process.
This judge was required to have a hearing where all the parties could be heard and evidence could be reviewed about whether or not a gag order is required to maintain a fair trial.
That hearing never happened. Last Tuesday, the attorney for Gary Siders Jr. requested a gag order, citing concerns with these comments made by public officials and how they could sway public opinion in this case.
This is pure evil.
Okay, let's talk about some recent cases. Very recent. Javea, the sheriff came right out talking about her parents and said, I will never refer to them as parents. They are pure evil. They are pure evil. Not so recent, we have Quentin Simon, where the chief of police said Quentin deserves to have Thanksgiving. His mother doesn't deserve anything. She doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving. Don't get me going on law enforcement in Gannon's case or the chief in Harmony's case. Why are they saying this is hyperbolic and so over the top? Why? They're saying this is pure evil. This is an atrocity. That house is abysmal. The floor is caving in from urine. Hold on, who broke their leg? How the hell, Cat's Eyes, did you break your leg? What were you doing? Girlfriend, did you have surgery? I need to know about this. Everyone, let's do some get well internet hugs for Cat's Eyes. She broke her leg. She said she was running. Well, you can mark me safe because I don't run nowhere except for to the fridge to get a beer. Kathy, welcome. Can we talk about how unhealthy Elizabeth looks? I agree 100%. No prenatal care or postpartum care after 16 children. That is 100%. Her face is sunken in. The lights are on. No one's home. She's in jail and just kind of like looking around like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? She asked the judge, like, well, when can I see the kids? When can I see the kids? She tells the attorney, I've got all these care packages. Can you get them to the kids? Like, she's not getting it. As we said before in the show, no one's going to thrive in an environment like that. I'm going to drop the link. Kathy, I would love for you to come up and chat away, or anyone. I would grab it before Sherry wakes up, as in Aunt Sherry. I don't mean Sherry Lynn. Hey, Cat's Eye, did you have surgery? Or did they just like cast you up? Boy, that's bad. How old are you, by the way? I mean, I don't want your date of birth or your social or anything, because I'm thinking I'm 51. And if I broke my leg, guys would be hearing about it for 30 years.
Our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
The judge signed off on that order the same day. It precludes any public official from disseminating information or commenting on the case.
STFU, you're 3 years older than me and you run? Oh, but you're in a cast. My goodness. Criminal Med, do I have to be on a computer to come up? Just curious. Nope. You can use anything except for a toaster or a calculator. Some people use their watches. Some people use their phones. Some people use their little iPads. Some people, they have a smart TV where they can actually connect. Crazy world we live in.
That order the same day. It precludes any public official from disseminating information or commenting on the case.
They don't have power to bind people outside of the case or outside of the courtroom. And saying that, for example, the governor of Ohio can't speak about this case, there's no way that a common pleas court judge can do that unless the governor was somehow a party in the litigation, which is not true here.
This week, the lawyer representing the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail denied 10 TV's public records request for video showing.
In some of our favorite FOIA channels, like The Docket, like Plunder, Shot Down. They're like, no way. People are really wanting to see that body cam. I get not putting that out. I get that. I get not exposing the children's pictures. I'll get not releasing their medical conditions. But as far as the DA, the Attorney General, the governor, and all of them just saying, this is damn nasty, there's nothing wrong with that. Who in here honestly thinks that these were good conditions for anybody? Would you, let me put it this way. Let's say you went to the pound and there was a dog in there with 1 day to live covered in shit. Would you put that puppy dog in there? I wouldn't. No way. Who's got the MJ Maxi? Yeah, can't use a toaster. No way. Karma Libra. I'll use my Tesla looking fridge. Could you just imagine? That is something she would do. She would grab the link and she'd be talking to her ice maker. Y'all kill me. You do.
Showing the Siders being booked into jail. The lawyer said due to the gag order, he could not send that video. Weaver says that's unusual.
The notion that otherwise public records like body camera footage, for example, or filings in the clerk's office, the notion that they're not public records because of the gag order, I don't think that's true. I think those records should be released if they are otherwise public. I understand how local government officials look at this order and they don't want to be crossways with the judge. That's fair.
A fatal paper cut is asking me something that I'm pretty sure he can answer because he's used his phone to grab the link and come up. But I'm going to go ahead and stop the show just for him. Yes, Criminal Med, you can use your phone, not a landline, but if you have a cell phone, you can use it to come up. Thank you for your hard work, Paper Cut. I couldn't do it without you.
Crossways with the judge. That's fair. It goes to the heart of why this order needs to be redone the way Ohio law requires it to be.
And we've made requests for dozens of records from the Vinton County Sheriff and other agencies as we try to learn more about who knew about these children and the family's history. It's unclear how this gag order will continue to impact our reporting. A lawsuit has been filed to fight the gag order. Weaver says the next step should be a hearing at the Ohio Supreme Court. Jeff, Yolanda?
Ooh, they're going to Supreme Court because they want the gag order lifted. They want to see the attorneys back on Chris Cuomo. They want the attorney general talking. I just don't even know who walked out of that house and said anything that wasn't, well, what we've heard. They were just like, you've got to be kidding me. Let me put the link down. I want to see if Rexy will come up because Rexy has a lot to say about this attorney general, and I love when she comes up because she's my friend and she loves me even though she won't admit it. I know she loves me. Oh, look at her. Everybody, she's playing hard to get. Not just an NO. No, I'm diamond painting. Are you doing a picture of me? That's okay. She's diamond painting a picture of me, guys.
Exactly 2 weeks after law enforcement rescued 16 children from this Vinton County home, who prosecutors say were abused, not attending school, and some near death.
Gentlemen, I've come to ask for some help. The case is getting a life of its own.
I can just imagine what they're getting into. You have 16 victims. 16. You have 4 suspects. You know, innocent till proven guilty, Brooks. Innocent till proven guilty, Brooks. 16 different cases. They're like, Vinton County can't handle this. No way. Can we afford 4 separate trials? Because they will have to be separate. No way. No way can we go through all this evidence. No way can we share all this discovery with the defense. So we're going to have some help from the state. So they appointed 2 special prosecutors out of their capital. I say, good. Don't you want it done right? Got 2 kids that were in critical condition.
Vinton County prosecutor William Archer told commissioners he's receiving help from the prosecutor of Highland County and the Ohio Attorney General's office for the prosecution of parents Elizabeth Simon.
Criminal Med, could you connect? Criminal Med wants to know why 2 of the children were critical. Malnutrition. When you're that malnourished, your organs are shutting down. Janica, are any of the kids out of the hospital yet? I heard that they're all out of the hospital. I'm not saying it's a verifiable source. I'm just saying, that's what I heard. I think about when the Turpins were brought to the hospital and they started to have to feed them like little baby birds. They couldn't just put down a big old Sonic hamburger and a milkshake in front of them. They had to be put on an IV, which was feeding them. And then they were brought like small little portions of meals because a few of them were so malnourished that their little bodies were rejecting the food. Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Plus the respiratory problems they were having from all the ammonia and the methane coming off the feces.
Siders and Gary Siders Jr., along with his parents, Christina Siders and Gary Siders Sr. But prosecutor Archer said he needed more money for overtime and administrative costs.
It's not like you got enough help. You ought to be giving us money back.
Well, if I didn't have to foreclose every property in Hamden and all the other stuff. So
Prosecutor Archer jokes about foreclosing on the properties within the village of Hamden. I checked with the Ohio Supreme Court. Vinton County filed 26 foreclosure cases in all of 2025. Hamden is where the prosecutor previously said the Siders rented this home and hid their kids.
All right, let's look at the layout of the house again. Teresa, or the date when she, via Junior's Facebook page, she wanted all of her pictures removed. I shared that on the community tab. She used Fireball's Facebook. She said, "This is Elizabeth. Anyone that has a picture of me," I believe this was in 2013, remove it. Remove it. Diva, then who the heck was eating all the food from the food bank? What a great question. What a great question. Elizabeth wasn't treated for malnourishment. Fireball wasn't. Christina, Gary Sr., he's got other problems.
Now he explained those kids will all be part of a juvenile court case in which the state is fighting for custody. You can hear him advise commissioners to ask state lawmakers for more funds for their care and strike while the iron is hot.
this all first started, strike while the iron's hot. We got foster care money. Good. But don't be afraid to ask him for more.
Just one.
I don't have a problem with him saying that at all. Strike while the iron's hot, because this county is going to need the money to take care of these children. And do you want to hear something real messed up? Y'all aren't going to believe this. You are not going to believe it. In some states, some don't care. You know, there's always going to be a New York, a California, and Illinois. Some just don't pay attention like that. No offense to New York. No offense to Illinois. No offense to my Cali friends. People will go to the food bank, get way more than they need. They can figure out where the UFC code is from, or UPC code, I'm sorry, and they'll take it back to said store and get the money. Or they'll get like a gift card. They'll say, I don't have my receipt. And they'll give them a gift card. Who would do that? You're taking food out of people's mouths. Like almost literally. Where do people come up with this shit?
Just one day earlier, the Ohio Controlling Board approved $1 million toward the children's care.
I know we're a poor county. I know resources are tight. But don't be afraid to ask them. They've all made public comments about this case.
Janica, I know. Who would think of such a thing? I mean, come on. All right, it is time for a music break with Joey. This is the only reason that Boston comes to this show because, well, he does it for her. So he did this a couple of days ago. This is to all the Sider family secret pages. Thank you for the motivation and hate to keep me going, even though you all said some nasty stuff. Here's the response. Music break with Joey. Turn the lights down. Light a candle.
Fuck this, fuck that. Fuck you and fuck your hat. Offended by the word fuck, that's well. Unfollow this page and go to hell. I woke up petty, had espresso and rage. Phone in my hand like I'm stepping on stage. Scrolling through comments like, why so mean, bro? It's the internet, not a church magazine. You said be nice like that's some law, but I dropped one word and you dropped your jaw. Now you're typing essays like you changed the world, while I turn your outrage into hooks that get curled. It's not that deep, it's not that serious. You're acting shocked, but it's kinda hilarious. You press play, then you press quit, but you still here though, admit it. Fuck this, fuck that. Fuck you and fuck your hat. Offended by the word fuck, that's well. Unfollow this page and go to hell. Fuck this, fuck that. Fuck you and fuck your hat.
Well, that just made my Thursday a lot better. I'm telling you. Yeah, we're not done with Joey, by the way.
Put their money, and they have partly. Tell them to put their money where their mouth is and help us out.
That's when one commissioner asked if they should consider a levy to help generate more funds. You can hear the prosecutor joke that those funds could go well beyond the initial ask of the Siders case.
One of my colleagues with the Prosecuting Attorneys Association said, I think you might be able to get your jail now. Tim's going to have a heart attack. I just said that for his benefit.
Oh, yeah. A big case like that in a small county like that. Yeah. They're going to have a lot of public funding. This case is going to be so big, the state of Ohio may have to reach out for federal funding. You got 16 victims. You're probably going to have to bulldoze the house. You got 4 separate trials. That, or they're going to have to get a loan from Joey and all his ticky-tock money. Goodness, I can't get enough of that. All right, so everyone's favorite, well, I shouldn't say everyone, I'm just speaking out loud, is Elizabeth the victim? She said she's not. She said her and Fireball wanted to have a big family. That's what they said. They wanted to have a big family. They meant to have a big family. One after another. She was either pregnant or postpartum for 18 years. 18 years. Think about that. Let's say you have a baby on July 1st. You're postpartum for at least a year. I'm sorry, 9 months is what they normally say. You can't tell me that didn't have some sort of effect on her. It doesn't mean she's not culpable of what was going on at all. Because I would have had the cleanest house in the county if I had all those kids. All right, kids, take that out to the trash can and I'll get dinner ready. Okay, kids, it's your day to clean the one bathroom that all 20 of us share. There's just too much hygiene things going on that stress me out. Like my brain is overwhelmed between females' monthly cycles, laundry, dishes, plumbing. There's just way too much for my little brain to fathom.
Is Elizabeth Siders a defendant or a victim? She was 15 years old and 7 months pregnant when a judge signed off on her marriage to Gary Siders Jr. 18 years later, she's a 33-year-old mother of all 16 of those children, and she's also a criminal defendant facing decades in prison. Her own family says she was, quote unquote, indoctrinated, and her attorney floats that she may be a victim too. So here's the question that makes this case legally fascinating. Can you be a victim and a defendant at the same time? As a criminal defense attorney, let me break down what the law actually says and why it's not what most people expect. Because
In our criminal justice system, it's not uncommon for a defendant to also be part of the toxic cycle. Now, with this family, the title of the show is The Kids Are Key Witnesses. I always think about Dr. Ramini. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She talks about situations somewhat like this. And she talks about what's called a trauma bond, where like the kids will never turn on the parents. Like it takes years of therapy. Sometimes they have to do what she call it, cognitive behavioral therapy, to get them to understand that what they were living in was bad. I think about the Wells kids. I know they have said some things, obviously, but there is this bond. Secrets. Purple drank. So that bathtub was the cleanest thing in the house because it wasn't being used. You had no shower curtain, no soap, no towels. My goodness. My goodness. This is a good question too, Boston moms. When you're getting ready to have a baby, what happened to nesting? You know, ladies, when we get that strike of lightning in us and we're cleaning the hell out of everything before our baby's born. We are organizing. We are putting all the crib sheets together. We're like over organized. You can eat off the floor. Everything is done in preparation for the baby. That seems to be something that Elizabeth didn't have.
I bet you think it's either or. You're either a defendant or you're a victim. You can't be both. I'll break it down in the segment. So let's first talk about the horror that was found in this home, just by way of background. On June 30th, deputies serve a warrant in Benton County, Ohio. It was an unrelated warrant on 4 misdemeanor indecent exposure counts against Gary Siders Jr., Elizabeth's husband. Inside the home, deputies found 16 children ages 17 months to 18 years, most of them confined for years to a single 12 by 12 room.
For 4 years, the kids shared that room. Now, I'm going to say it was the older kids and that the toddlers and the babies were in the other room with Fireball and Elizabeth. Criminal Med, are we sure there was no water? I'm not sure, because we already had a family member that spoke to one of the local news stations that said they used to borrow money from him all the time to pay the water bill. And I bet it was damn high. Be like me filling my damn swimming pool every day. Shower would never be turned off. You got 20 people in there. Could you imagine? You'd have to set an egg timer. All right, that's enough. Get out. How would you even keep up with the hot water? What, do you have an endless tank? Anybody ever been in the shower when someone in the house flushes a toilet and you get a shot of cold water? Shit pisses me off.
Think about that. Human waste, insects, and garbage just everywhere. None of them enrolled in school as you would expect a child to be. 7 were hospitalized. 2 were airlifted to level 1 trauma centers. The AG says another 24 hours have gone by, could have meant deaths inside that home. And the 18-year-old, the eldest that she was pregnant with when they got married, is believed to be developmentally disabled and reportedly cannot even spell her own name. I mean, truly horrific. And so that brings us to...
You know, it's odd to me they keep saying that the oldest girl couldn't spell her own name, yet we've seen their text messages. I've seen their socials. That, or it could be that trauma bond thing coming out where they just weren't complying. Ilyanka, bet you that money was not used to pay the water bill. Yeah. Bet it wasn't used for Pine Sol either, to mop the floors. The real gypsy soul. What's their religion? Mormon? Amish? Question. Oh, easy. COH. Oh, yeah. Fireball and Elizabeth? Yeah. They're big in the church of Horny. They are in the church of Horny. That's all they know.
Who's charged in this case, right? We have 4 defendants charged with 16 counts of child endangerment. And I'll get into the law a little bit later. We have the parents, Gary Siders Jr., Elizabeth Siders, the mom, the wife of Gary, the paternal grandparents. These are Gary's parents, Gary Siders Sr., and then Christina Siders. All 4 of them are charged with these 16 counts of child endangerment under Ohio law. Now, all 4 have pleaded not guilty. They've waived preliminary hearing, which means the case is headed to a grand jury for indictment. And the AG's office has appointed special prosecutors for this case. Now, just a reminder, the advantage of a prelim to a criminal defendant. It provides the opportunity to cross-examine. Now, a prelim is a hearing that belongs to the prosecution so that the prosecution can present evidence of probable cause enough to proceed to trial. But there's a benefit to the defendant to be able to cross-examine the prosecution's witnesses and really test their evidence at the preliminary hearing. Well, that perk does not exist when you go to a grand jury.
I was really confused. Somebody in here, I'm going to go ahead and say 206 people in here are smarter than me, that they gave up their right, the attorneys, because those 4, they don't know what the hell's going on, that they skipped the prelim and they want a grand jury. A grand jury is a slam dunk. The grand jury is going to hear about the children's conditions, health conditions. They're going to see pictures of the house. They'll be done by lunch. They'll be like, yeah, whatever. You got to be kidding me. I thought that was a little weird that the attorneys would do that. Gigi made it rain. If you received a Crime Lines and Lies membership, thank our friend Gaelic Girl. Question that comes up quite a bit. Did they get all those stimulus payments? In 2020, how many children did they have? Let's say 12. Do the math. They were getting benefits, but once CPS was coming after them, they stopped getting the benefits because they were hiding from the authorities because they were in trouble for not sending their kids to school. What up, Annette? Annette, send me a message on Facebook. We got to get that show together. So think about it. Do the math.
Defendant is not present or represented, which is the case for a grand jury. So here, they waive preliminary hearing. Elizabeth is held on a $300,000 bond. Now, her attorney, Thomas Stoley, moved to reduce the bail, the amount of the bail, stating that she wants to be reunited with her children. Except I think a child endangerment charge is the textbook charge that tells a court that you're not fit to be around your children, right? It involves your children. The crime is against your children. So I think that's an uphill battle, and I don't think the bail has been reduced. Now, Elizabeth's backstory is what really drives the victim narrative here. So I want to talk.
People are really fixated on that. She had a baby at 13. That would be enough for most parents to be like, oh, we got to do something. We got to find us a church with a private school. But instead, she's still running around the trailer park. The Siders family lived 4 doors down from them in that trailer park. At 15, mind you, she was 7 months pregnant. Everyone knew she was pregnant. You can't even tell me they didn't know. Her mom's like, no, this one's going up for adoption. No way. No way, no how. We've already got a family member raising your first child. But instead, what they do? Very wise decision on the Russell family. Pack up the minivan and let's go to West Virginia and get these 2 kids hitched. Now look. Horrible situation. Twister investigation, what's up? We're a CPS now. Up to their eyeballs in paperwork and placement.
Talk a little bit about that. On March of 2008, she marries Gary Siders Jr. She's 15, he's 18. She's underage, clearly, but a judge approves it. He signs off on it, and her parents consent. She was 7 months pregnant at that time with that eldest daughter, the eldest child of hers, who is developmentally disabled. That eldest child, the 18-year-old found in that house, was born just 2 months after the wedding. And a man that identifies as her brother, estranged brother, says that she was, quote unquote, indoctrinated. Interesting term. A relative says she came from a very bad home and, quote unquote, escaped into this one. Essentially, that marriage was her ticket out of that bad home. It's not that uncommon, right? But I guess bad is relative. How bad is bad? Her attorney's public posture is that she's, quote unquote, crying and exhausted. You know, she's only asking how to see her kids. He calls this, quote unquote, a case of poverty, isolation, and parents just in over their heads, but not evil. Now, what she's actually charged with and why the degree matters, that is very important here under Ohio law, right? The charge is endangering children. And this is under Ohio's umbrella statute that covers both neglect and abuse. So we've got omission, which is recklessness and neglect, and we've got commission, which is an affirmative act of abuse, right?
Okay. I can't speak for Ohio, but in Oklahoma, you can't play dumb, even though people here are really damn good at it. You're going to see it on the members live tomorrow. If you're not a member, I would grab that link because you're going to shit the bed when you see this. We're going to be talking about July birthdays. I got to get a hold of Kimberly because I want to do a quiz with her. Of course, there's always great prizes. But in Oklahoma, not knowing can be considered a lie of omission. Like, oh, I didn't know the house was that dirty. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know. Doesn't matter because it was. You don't need to be in society if you don't pay that much attention. That's what Florida calls it. Plausible deniability is not a legal defense. Doesn't work that way.
So there's two parts to this umbrella statute under Ohio law, and this gets interesting. The required mens rea, you've heard that term. I've used that term before in my breakdown of other cases. It means the mental state, right? Did she need to have intent, specific intent? What kind of mens rea or mental state does the statute require? Here, it's just recklessness, not intent, not malice, just reckless disregard of a known risk, which is kind of the criminal sister to negligence under a tort charge or tort statute under Ohio law.
She's getting all legal on me, talking about torts and shit. When I heard originally about this house of filth and 16 children, my brain went straight Prayer Gardener. I went straight, those kids have been trafficked. Those kids cannot all be theirs. There's got to be kids in that house that are not theirs. And as of today, we haven't heard anything different. They are still Fireball and Lizzie's kids. And then on top of that, they had conjoined twins that didn't survive outside the womb. Twister, do you think drugs are involved? In this case, I say nothing would surprise me. And I mean nothing. Nothing. Everything I've been reading is all their intake paperwork. The only one that was under the influence was Gary Jr.
Code section 2919.22 section E, a duty of care or neglect violation under division A that causes serious physical harm is a third degree felony. I mean, obviously we have serious physical harm to these children, right? Some of them almost died. And neglect is definitely part of the story. So that is a third degree felony. Now, third degree felony is not that bad, right? In the spectrum of felonies. And all this requires is mere neglect. It's about a failure to act. So a failure of a parent to protect her child, right? But it becomes a second degree felony, which is a more serious felony, when it's also a violation of subdivision B1 of that same statute, meaning that there is abuse, there's actual abuse. It's no longer about neglect, but it's abuse that causes the serious physical harm. Again, we obviously have serious physical harm, but we don't just have neglect, we have neglect and abuse. The AG charged Siders with abuse that caused serious physical harm. That means the state isn't alleging that she merely failed to act or was neglectful or reckless. It's alleging affirmative abuse. And let me tell you, that is devastating for Siders' victim narrative here. Why? I was controlled and passive and didn't know how to get out. That's a story about omission. The charge here is about commission, committing abuse or abusive acts. Those two things will not sit together comfortably in front of a jury. They're not easy to reconcile. Now, caveat, we haven't.
All right, so if you look at, let me pull it up, if you feel like it. All right, here's the parents. I'm concentrating on them today. If you look at the charging code times 17, 29.9.22, in Ohio, you're going to see that this is a high charge. So on paper, you see it says child endangerment. But if you look at that 2919.22, it's not just endangerment. I'm not talking about your child didn't have their seatbelt on. Okay? Not talking about that. It was intentional, is what the state is saying. Intentional.
Seen the indictment, the grand jury can recharge, add counts, or restructure the counts. But as charged today, the degree tells you the prosecution's theory that this is serious and these were affirmative acts of abuse and the impact it has on the victim narrative. Very hard to reconcile being a victim and actually being abusive. Maybe a psychologist can come in and explain why a victim of abuse or neglect can act this way towards not just her abuser, but children that she's supposed to protect. It is an uphill battle. Now, under Ohio law, Siders faces 2 to 8 years per count. We have 16 counts, right?
17, girlfriend. And what I read was 10 years per count. But I'm going to go ahead and trust her homework just for the sake of the show. Gaelic girl, are you wanting a spanking? Look at that, leaving me a super sticker. Hiding from authorities proves knowledge. Think about that. Hiding from authorities proves knowledge. Princess Stephanie wants to know, was Elizabeth locked in the room with the kids? I don't think anybody was locked in the room. I just think that's where they would congregate when it was time to go to bed or whatever. I still want to know the sleeping arrangements. Like, think about the simplest things we do in our house. The simplest things. Washing your hands. Brushing your teeth. Going pee-pee. Taking a shower. Making the bed. I'm talking the bare bones of our daily lives. How could that work in this house? How could it? These simplest things. Hygiene. Food. It's impossible. And Elizabeth had no upbringing. None. Where are her parents? Their daughter's in jail. She could be there for 170 years. If you do the math. I'll go ahead and just say they might give her 100. I don't know. The only break she's going to get is if they take all those charges and he, her, he, the 4, if they let them serve them concurrently. I don't know. I don't know if they will or not. Where are her parents? They are more disliked in Ohio right now than Mackenzie Sharilla's parents.
And that means that if any of them run consecutively, this is a life-altering number for a 33-year-old woman. Now, what the defense is selling is this victim narrative, right? That's what makes this case so interesting and why I wanted to come out and talk to you about this case. The defense is that Siders was groomed. She was a pregnant 14-year-old who got sucked into an adult man's family, married off at 15 with the court's blessing, cut off from her own family for 15 years, never educated, never employed, continuously pregnant, and financially and physically completely dependent. Now, from a psychological point of view, we're talking about coercive control. You've heard me say this in other cases. You've heard this, other experts talk about coercive control. It's a pattern of isolation, dependency, and domination that leaves no visible bruises, but
Well, I mean, domination. Her mom and dad loaded up her and Fireball, took him to West Virginia, and got him married. They let a 15-year-old make a choice. Who in here lets their 15-year-old, whether you have a 15-year-old currently or you had one before, or you can imagine your child being 15, make their own life decisions? Hell, it's hard enough for me. My kids are in their 30s. They make a decision. I'm like, oh, you didn't talk to me about that. Gotta be kidding me. All right, let's do, this is getting deep. Let's do music break with Joey. He's looking straight at Boston. This is awesome. He wants to spin us around, everybody. He wants to spin a net like a helicopter. He said dance floor, but we know what he means. The wink does it for me. I love the winking at the camera or the phone, whatever he's using.
But it's extremely damaging because it destroys the capacity to leave. So when we say, well, why'd you stick around for 18 years? Why didn't you just leave? Because she was coercively controlled, right? That's a very real thing. And an expert, down the road, the right time, whether it's trial or otherwise, will testify that coercive control is routinely missed precisely because it isn't visible. It's behind closed doors and in a very convoluted dynamic. And so from a moral point of view, okay, she was a crime victim before she was ever a defendant. Think about it, 15-year-old, cannot meaningfully consent to that life. But the state legalized it with a judge's signature, and her parents consented and blessed it, right? Now, perhaps I think the darkest thread is what the AG calls an intra-family situation. It's kind of an unusual word that has prompted speculation.
Okay, intra-family issue is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to go throw them all in there. The Russells and the Siders. There is something intra in the family that caused this horrible situation. Horrible situation. And yeah, they found all their birth certificates. I could have a baby today and say Tom Cruise is the daddy. They don't make you do DNA at the hospital. You write down the name. There's the daddy, or they do it for you. Some people fill it out themselves. Some people don't. That's the reason they said, oh, hail to the no. We want DNA on every one of them. It does make me scratch my head how many people say things like, give them a break. They just didn't know any better. They just didn't know any better. It's not a crime to have a filthy house. I didn't say it was a crime to have a filthy house. I need to clean my house. I need to sweep. I need to mop. I need to vacuum. I need to dust. But I don't need to pick up a bunch of food bank boxes and human turds.
About abuse within the household, including possibly abuse towards Elizabeth Siders herself, right? So I took this reference by the DA to mean general abuse, not just abuse by the parents on the children, but possibly towards each other, that this is an abusive household. So more shall be revealed in that regard. And so that brings us to the legal reality of Siders' defense, right? Duress is a story, not a defense. And here's the hard truth, y'all. Number one, duress collapses on imminence under Ohio law, okay? Duress requires an immediate, imminent threat of death or serious bodily harm, and a well-grounded fear by the person claiming it, and no reasonable opportunity to escape.
Okay, 20 people in a home, if everyone does just one chore a day, it would be spotless. Now, let me redo that math because we know there are children under the age of 5, but I don't care what anyone says. Children do know how to pick up. Okay? I used to sing the Barney song to my kids all the time. Clean up, everybody everywhere. Clean up, everybody do your share. And then, of course, I would be the one cleaning up while they sat there and watched Barney. But you get my gist. There is no reason to have human feces or urine in your house. MJ, how do you feed 16 children on their income? You don't. You go to the food bank. Who's eating the food? All the children had to be hospitalized. 2 were in critical condition and had to be life-flighted. The oldest daughter is developmentally disabled. Well, welcome back. Thank you, Turkey Creek.
It really is built for that gun to the head moment, right? It is not built for a condition that lasted 18 years. The prosecution is correct that, Siders was an adult for 15 of those 18 years, right? Majority of it. There were 5,000 plus days to walk out, call 911, tell a doctor, tell a friend, tell anyone, and basically get help, right? They have a point. Number 2, she still has to prove duress. In other words, the burden of proof is on her when it comes to the affirmative defense of duress. And the 2019 reform to Ohio law with respect to that burden actually does not help Siders, okay? And I'll explain why. Duress is an affirmative defense. And under Ohio law, the defendant has the burden of proving an affirmative defense by a preponderance of the evidence. And you've heard me and others talk about this standard of proof, preponderance of the evidence, much lower than guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And what it means is
Rexy said, Brooks, want to come clean my house? My neck and back hurt. Are you going to take me swimming afterward? You going to take me to the ocean? Take a picture of me by a palm tree? Get me a fabulous margarita? Yes, I'll be there. I'd do anything for you. I'd do anything for you, Rexy. You're the wind beneath my wings.
It's 50% and a feather, right? Or simply put, more likely than not. Now, in 2019, Ohio did shift the burden of proof to the state, okay? But only for self-defense, defense of another person, and defense of property or your residence, not for duress.
Okay, I want to talk about this. Princess Stephanie 50 said they rented. So if the toilet was broken, just call the landlord. No excuse for the bathroom not being used. Here is the funny thing. I haven't read one thing, and I'm sure the police are asking them. They're going to find out. How many of you in here, how many in here rent? Rent an apartment, rent a house, whatever. We used to rent a condo over on 71st off of Riverside in Tulsa. And once a year, they would come through and check the property. These people are so shut in, so hidden, that even if the damn house caught on fire, and it's a wonder it didn't, they weren't going to call that landlord. Oh, hail to the no. They weren't about to. And the landlord died last year, I believe. So somebody had to have taken over the property. because the rent was being paid to a trust. They didn't want nobody seeing their mess. Look at their last mess. That guy bought that house and he explained everything he had to go through to get it cleaned up. I don't know if it's worth it. He better have gotten a real good deal.
So that burden still is on Sider's shoulders. Translation: she has to affirmatively prove that more likely than not, she was coerced. It's a little difficult, right? Might be a battle of experts. Number 3, Ohio does not recognize diminished capacity at all. So the idea that she was psychologically broken, so she couldn't form the mental state to commit this abuse, is not a recognized defense in Ohio. There is no middle ground between sanity and insanity. So that goes out the window. Interesting note here that Siders' co-defendant father-in-law.
My question for those that rent, apartment, house, whatever, how often does your landlord come check the property? I know Radio Gods is having a problem right now because her air conditioner is kind of on the, it's shit in the bed, and her landlord hasn't gotten to it yet. But normally, I mean, I know Aggie went through this not too long ago. They do a walkthrough just to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Is claiming competency or not guilty by reason of insanity. That's the route he seems to be going. So clearly that door is open to him. I don't know what's going on with him, what he has that, where he could prove insanity. But that door is clearly not open to her. And as I said, it's black and white. It's sanity, insanity, nothing.
Princess Stephanie said slumlords don't care. You'd have to be a slumlord to rent to them. If I was renting a house out, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, which is crazy to me, 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, but hey, whatever. It's a much older home. And how many people are going to be there? 20. Oh, okay. I'd have been like, no. Hell no. No way. Mandy said in the UK, every 12 months they check her. No, nobody wanted to get involved.
In between. So that brings us to a 4th issue, battered woman syndrome, which is tethered to self-defense, right? Whenever we have a domestic issue and the female, the woman has been abused, we look to battered woman syndrome and whether that could be the explanation or the defense for the crime. Now, Ohio's battered women's syndrome statute lets a defendant introduce expert testimony on what BWS, battered woman syndrome, is. But it is framed around a defendant who asserts self-defense. That's not what we have here. Siders isn't.
No. She claims she loves Fireball. To her attorney, she claimed they wanted a big family. Like, as long as she could have babies, she was going to keep having babies. That's all there is to it. It really makes me wonder, at what point did her mother-in-law not sit down with her and say, you have a family. You have a beautiful family. And it's time for Fireball to go see the urologist and get a couple little snips, okay? They'll have to get a magnifying glass. They'll have to get the tweezers, I'm assuming. And he'll sit with some ice on his wiener for a couple of days. And then you can just raise your children. Why on earth was that discussion not ever had? Because I'm yet to find that they are in some kind of religion where they don't believe in birth control. I can't find it anywhere.
claiming she harmed her abuser. This is not a crime on Gary Jr., right? It's not about him. It's about the children. She's accused of harming her children. And the statute doesn't naturally reach a failure to protect or abuse of a third party or child case, right? So raises an interesting issue. Should BWS reach cases like this? You know, when you think about abuse in a household being such a...
As of right now, the only abuse that was heaped out was on the children, particularly the older ones. They're going to find out that there are 6 children that were abused more than the others, and those are the ones that stopped going to school. Well, I shouldn't say they stopped going. Elizabeth and Fireball just didn't have them go to school anymore. Paper cut. COH Brooks, praise be. Yeah, horniest people I've ever seen in my life. Tell you what, Elizabeth gives birth. You're supposed to wait 6 weeks. And then she's pregnant again. Couldn't imagine old Fireball crawling on me that much. Be like, buddy, been having all these babies and all you do is crawl on me and DoorDash and drink Fireball? Got a little bit more respect for myself than that. That I will say this is a great O-face. She's even clutching her hands.
Complex dynamic. Abuse of one is abuse of another, right? And just it's one unit, it's one family. Maybe BWS should extend to this kind of case. But this is, you know, while it's very interesting, it's not Ohio law today. And last, we have the universal coercion defense problems in cases involving children. Duress has never been a comfortable fit where the coerced person transfers the harm to an innocent third party, especially a child that she has a legal duty to protect. That's just not something that we see. And, you know, jury will be asked, you know, she was afraid, but 16 children were living in filth. So whose fear are we really protecting here, right? That's a valid question that's going to go through these jurors' minds. So the bottom line is, everything about Sider's victimhood can be true, and she can still be convicted. Victim status is not a defense. Coercive control is not a defense. Being groomed at the age of 14 is not a defense. The law is just far narrower and much harsher than the moral story here. So you ask, well, then why the heck is her lawyer continuing this victim narrative on and on and on? What's the get here? Where does he actually win with this, right? Valid question. Sider's lawyer is not a fool, okay? He may not be building a trial defense because not every case goes to trial or is triable, but he's building leverage, okay? Definitely.
I'm going to put the link down, see if anybody wants to come up and chat with me. I'm getting lonely by myself up here, and I love talking to you guys. Janica, what do we know about Elizabeth's parents? Well, they're pieces of shit. We know that much. We know that they lived in the same trailer park as the Siders family. We know that they did sort of an inside the family adoption when she was 13. And then when she was 7 months pregnant, they took her to West Virginia and let her get married. And then 2 months later, she had a baby. Yvonne! Well, hey, Yvonne, what you doing? She's trying to connect.
Hello.
Hi, Steve. What are you doing?
I am actually, technically, I'm working. Technically, not really.
Well, technically, we're all working too because we're solving crimes, correct? What do you think about this?
I don't know. I think it's still too early. But if anything, being 15, it may be arrested development caused by trauma.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm feeling. I mean, at 15, it's like, your brain doesn't develop till you're 25. I get it. At a certain point, you should know better. But by the time she actually matured, it could have been too late from the trauma. Because you don't know what trauma she had before she got married.
Well, all abused in the Russell house.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you don't know if it's SA trauma. You don't know if it's a physical trauma. You don't know what kind of trauma she went through. And that blank look on her face, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. I just recognize the blank look.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like it's not like an, oh shit, I got caught. It's like she's clueless. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's the feeling I get.
Oh, no, I got you. I mean, it's like, like we've said, the lights are on. No one's home.
Yeah, there's bats in the belfry, and I have, I'm just waiting for more shit to come out because I know that there's more going to come out.
Oh, I think that there might be additional charges as well, because this investigation, they had to get the state involved.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no way they have 16 victims.
Exactly. And that one child that was taken by Lifestar or whatever, or Life Flight, wherever they call it there. I mean, it could be a respiratory problem that child went through. You don't know what age that child is. I mean, obviously with that house, I'm sure they all have respiratory issues.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the old man. You can tell he's got one foot in grave already.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's not going to make it to trial. I don't see that at all. But you see Elizabeth's eyes, and really odd, the picture that they took, the mugshot, because that's not the clothes you see her in when she's coming through the Sally port. But
I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that, and it's not like the jumpsuit or scrubs either. So I'm confused with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to read too much into it.
Maybe she smells so bad that somebody gave her another shirt or something. I don't know.
But her eyes being that red, I kept thinking, well, maybe she's crying. But I mean, we watched the whole Sally Port video. I mean, we even saw her when she got out of the shower. The eyes weren't that red. So
yeah.
I mean, I think initially when they came across her, the eyes were that red. And they did talk about, just an article I read. I think it was, give me a second. New York Post, Columbus Dispatch. I can't remember.
It's all over.
Yeah, said that many of the kids had problems with their eyes from, all the ammonia in the house.
That'll do it. Like I said, the respiratory, the eyes. Yeah, I can imagine skin issues.
Well, I mean, and think about those poor kids, how malnourished they were.
Malnourished, and I'm sure they had diaper rash, and oh my God, I just don't even want to think about it.
Oh, I don't either. See, we talk about the older kids quite a bit. I won't put their pictures up. I won't name them by name. But I mean, right. The babies.
I know, right? I don't know. I'm totally confused right now. But it's like I had issues with 4 kids. Holy crap. I can't even imagine. And she had how many sets of twins? 3 sets. And actually, technically 4, but one set died, conjoined.
Yeah, let me look at it real quick. Hold on. Let me see. I'll read through all this.
Can you imagine freaking squeezing out 3 sets of twins, girl?
Well, and here's the crazy thing. If what I'm reading is true, she never had a C-section.
That's what I'm saying. She squeezed those things out au naturel. Holy crap.
Yeah. So in March of 2008, Lizzie marries Fireball. 2 months later, she gives birth to a girl who's now 18. 2009, another girl. 2011, another girl. 2012, another girl. 2013, another girl. 2014, a boy. He's 11 now. 2016, another girl. 2017, another girl. I think we know what Fireball slings.
Spencer.
2019, a boy. 2020, another baby girl. 2022, twins, one boy, one girl.
Okay.
2022, conjoined twins, prematurely, they did not survive. 2024, twins, one boy, one girl. 2025, twin boys. That's a lot.
Yeah, so 3 sets of twins. That's what I thought. Okay, so it wasn't 4 sets. It was 3 sets of twins. And
Well,
wait,
let me look again. Let me look again. Hang on. Let me see. 1,
maybe it was 4 sets.
3, 4. No, 4 sets of twins.
Yeah,
One
okay.
set is 5.
Oh, good Lord. Who does that? And I guess it's a rumor, but I guess she's pregnant currently. I don't know.
Well, on the intake, she put that she wasn't pregnant, but they EPT'd her.
Mhm.
And that's where all that came from. I think Court TV talked about it, Law and Crime.
Yeah, I
hope-
watch Long Crime all the time. I have to been on Long Crime.
I hope she's not.
Well, she is. The state's going to scoop it right up.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine trying to find temporary homes for all those kids. And let's face it, some of those foster parents are nightmares. Some of them are wonderful. I mean, don't get me wrong, but some of them, they're just in it for the money and they're horrible.
Oh, I mean, look at what happened with the Turpin family. Everyone's like, oh, thank goodness. Now they'll get a loving home. This is the best thing. No, it was a nightmare for every one of them. And then the county stole their money that people had raised for them. Hey, everyone, can we please welcome Anastasia in Cleveland? She said she's a bit new. And her friends call her Stacia. Welcome, girlfriend.
Is doing that. So I want to explain that a little bit. First of all, the grand jury has not returned with an indictment yet. Prosecutors can distinguish. Remember, there's special prosecutors appointed to this case. They can distinguish among the 4 defendants and their level of culpability. The idea that she is a victim too is aimed squarely at the special prosecutors, not a jury. So that's something. Secondly, she is the state's single best witness against the grandparents and her husband. She was inside that house for 18 years. A coerced victim, or rather a coerced victim narrative is the cover that makes a cooperation deal palatable. She could very well cooperate against Gary Sr., Gary Jr., and the grandmother. Also, we have a severance issue here. If her defense is, they controlled me, she can't sit at the same table as the rest of them. So expect a motion to sever the defendants and that her interests are already diverging from her co-defendants. They cannot be tried together.
I think the DA already alluded to that it won't be tried together.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I think maybe her parents should, well, I don't know if her parents can be brought up on charges because technically it was illegal.
I wish they could, but that statute ran a long time ago because she was a child and she's 33 now. I want to know where the hell are her parents? Why are they not coming out and saying anything about what their daughter and grandkids are going through?
Where were they in 15 years?
18 years? I'd love to know.
18 years.
Would say they would see 2 of the kids at Christmas, and then another holiday they'd see another couple of kids. Now listen, I don't know. You would need a Penske truck to take all those kids around.
Right, but still, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I see my grandkids all the time. I just don't get it. I don't get that. And if they were trying to control her, I mean, I'm a mama bear. You bet your ass I'd be banging down that door. I'm seeing my daughter whether you like it or not. But apparently, all these parents wanted to do was just marry her off and move on.
That's what they did. They said she was wild. They couldn't control her.
There could be a reason for that.
It's like, who's the adult in the home? She was 15. You know, her mom said, you're going to put this baby up for adoption.
I had 4 teenagers, and you know what, bro, I'm still scarred. But you know what? I would never marry off my kid at 15. Holy crap!
No.
They can't even make their own bed in the morning. Never mind marrying them off.
Well, like Jean just said, they just washed their hands of her.
Yeah, exactly. They married her off and they moved on.
By the time she was 18, she had more kids than Loretta Lynn.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So where do you think this case is going? Do you think they're going to reduce the charges? Do you think anybody will get out on bond?
I don't see any bond coming. I mean, they'll probably give them a bond, but let's face it.
They have a high one.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, it's pretty bad when you got to put a loaf of bread on layaway. So I doubt very much that they're going to make any kind of bond. And as far as what's her name, Elizabeth? What's her name? The mother?
Elizabeth, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to reduce some charges with her. I don't think they're going to let her off scot-free. No. But I think they're probably going to order some therapy, all that, but she's going to do some jail time, but she's probably going to have to go through a lot of therapy. I see like Stepford Wives in her face, you know.
What I can't get over is like the 4 of them are sitting there and they act like they just don't even know what's going on. They're just kind of like, well, what am I doing here? Like, what's going on? Like, why can't we just go back home?
Exactly.
You know, and then imagine what they had to do when they had to, you know, get all the kids out.
Oh, good Lord.
This was not an easy job for the authorities at all.
I'm sure it left every one of them scarred.
Uh-huh.
Especially for the babies. It's just heartbreaking, that's all, you know. But I'm just glad they found them when they did. But like you said, there's no guarantee that they're all going to get good homes. It's like putting a dog in a pound. You know, you're just flipping a coin whether they're going to, you know, what kind of a home they're going to get.
Well, and what really gets me is that with all of the, you know, social media that says all the time, you know, she's a victim. I'm really surprised there hasn't been any sort of like crowdsourcing to get her money together to get her out of jail.
I think people are waiting to get more information. I think that's what it is, to see if she's an actual victim or if she's just a contributor. It's hard to tell at this point, but I'm leaning towards victim. But then there's a line. There's a certain point where your brain says, you know what, this isn't right. You know.
Oh, no, I got you 100%.
Especially when their brains are completely developed. You know, your tail's got to tingle at some point. You know, that's just, I don't know. Probably have to wait a little longer to see if more comes out. And I don't see any family members that are like proper enough to take any of those kids. So.
Well, before I shut down the show, we're going to do another music break with Joey. He's mad at Heather from Heather's True Crime. He has had enough of her shit. He said, now let people really see what you're about. And he's going to show us through his artistry. He's going to dance for us and sing. You know, as opposed to, you know, putting something out saying, you know, this woman did XYZ to me. He's using his art to let us know.
You're not a victim, you're a pain in the ass. So walking along with the victimhood pass. Every little problem needs a spotlight cast. You don't want it fixed, you want sympathy fast. I'll pour you. Here we go again, same old season with you as the hero in the end. The world's not against you, it's God and it's peace. Even patience has a breaking point, chief. Yeah, you collect old grievances like the vintage wine. Pour one out on every friend every single time. Every conversation turns into your defense. But facts need permission and feelings are evidence. You say nobody gets what I've been through. Yeah, nobody survives a tragedy queue. Every apology shows up with a legal brief explaining how your choices were somebody else's grief. You've got a black belt and making shit dramatic, a PhD and staying endlessly problematic. You don't need sympathy, you've got plenty to spare. You need 5 quiet minutes and ego repair. You're not a victim.
You know what, Brooks? He's not that bad.
No, I'm digging it. You know, he's trying to get a recording deal with Capitol Records in Nashville.
And you know what? You go.
What I'm hoping for is for him to go on The Voice.
Right, yeah, right. Because you know what? I was expecting something different, but you know what? He's not half bad.
Would you buy his album?
I probably would if he made something catchy where I couldn't get it out of my head. Probably.
But I mean, you know, he's lip syncing to all of this.
So it's not really his voice.
No, it's really his body and it's really his tattoos and his dance moves. So I want to hear the voice. Okay?
Oh, you know what? That's teasing. That's not nice.
I know.
What the hell? The body and the tattoos. I love tattoos, but you know, he's not much to look at, but you know.
Very talented though, the dancings. I mean, I don't know why he won't go on like America's Got Talent or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Pain in the ass, a 5 alarm fire in a gasoline mask. Every tiny setback gets a funeral parade. If misery paid overtime, you'd already be paid. Oh, for you, ring the alarm, tell all the neighbors you're collecting more harm. The sky isn't falling, you just love the sound of everybody rushing when you're around. You're not a victim, you're a pain in the ass. So walking along with the victimhood pass. Every little problem needs a spotlight cast. You don't want it fixed, you want sympathy fast. I'll pour you. Here we go again, same old season with you as the hero in the end. The world's not against you, it's God and it's peace. Even patience has a breaking point, chief. Yeah, you collect old grievances like the vintage wine. Pour.
Okay, since I'm in communication with him, I'm going to tell him what Carrie said. If he would get dressed, I would dance with him.
Well, I kind of wanted to shake my tail feathers a little bit.
Amazing. Well, this has been another great chat with great friends, great mods. Had a lot of stuff going on in here today. Gaelic Girl donated memberships. I got 200 gems from Jules. Gaelic Girl sent a super sticker. We have a new member, which is Turkey Gal. You all are something else. One thing after another. So I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Are you a member, Yvonne?
I am not. I'm kind of struggling right now.
Oh, no. Don't worry about that. I was just wondering. We're going to have a members live tomorrow morning. And then we're going to do some catch up later in the afternoon. So you all have a great rest of your Thursday. It's only going to be 92 here today. So I'm actually going to enjoy the outside because it's 10 times better than 106 like we had on Tuesday.
Ooh.
What's your weather been like, Yvonne?
Well, right now we got a nice breeze. I'm in Connecticut. I think it's like 70 something. I've got a nice breeze and it's nice and cool. Yeah, it's not bad. Hey, can I ask you a really quick favor?
Sure, babe.
Okay, so my brother and I adopted a horse from slaughter. We saved him from slaughter, and he needs brain surgery. He's got a neurological problem where he looks like he's drunk because he can't stand up really good. So today he went to the hospital to have his brain surgery. So I just wanted to ask the chat if they could just pray for Dancer.
Absolutely, everybody. We're praying for her pony right now.
Thank you.
Yvonne, keep us updated on how your pony's doing, okay?
Absolutely. All right. Love you guys. Love you, chat. I will talk to you later. Have a great day.
Love you all. You guys have a great rest of your day.